Alrighty, so in this example, we're going to write the equation of the line that's passing through an ordered pair -1, comma 6, and is parallel to the line 2x plus 5y minus 8. So essentially, we say that two lines are parallel as long as their slopes are equal to each other. Meaning if line 1 has a slope of m1 and line 2 has a slope of m2, m1 and m2 must be equal to each other. The way that I begin this problem is I look at the line that's given to us. The line that is given to us is 2x plus 5y minus 8 equals 0. That line is my first line. I call it L1. So L1, you defined it as 2x minus 5y, plus 5y minus 8 equals 0. And if you look at this line closely, you would realize that this particular line, you cannot find its slope right away. Why? Because it's not in slope-intercept form. So on this line, it's in actually its general form here. You have to first rewrite it in y equals mx plus b. So if I want to rewrite this line in terms of y equals mx plus b, I add 8 on both sides. This gives me 2x plus 5y equals to 8. Then I subtract 2x on both sides of the equation. This will give us, the 2x will cancel. 5y equals negative 2x plus 8. And then lastly, you divide everything out by 5s. So the 5s on the left would cancel. You get y equals negative 2 over 5x plus 8 over 5. Now, from this particular line in slope-intercept form, you should be able to identify your slope. My slope here, m1, is going to be equal to negative 2 over 5. Essentially, it's the coefficient, the value that's in front of your x. Now, since m1 is equal to negative 2 over 5, then this would imply that m2 is also equal to negative 2 over 5 because the two lines are parallel. All right? So now that I have that taken care of, I could use the value of m2, the given point, to write the equation in point-slope form, and then follow that up with writing it in slope-intercept, right? So using m2 equals negative 2 over 5, and the given order pair, which was negative 1, 6, we have the following. By point slope form, we'll have y minus the y1 value, which is 6, equals the slope, negative 2 over 5, times x minus negative 1. Now, just like if you were taking this exam on MyLab, you first simplify your point slope form. So wherever you have two negatives, you combine and make it a positive. This will give us y minus 6 equals negative 2 over 5 times x plus 1. So that's your point slope here. Now for slope intercept, you just got to convert this line, which I put a box in red, convert it into slope intercept. You just have to make sure that you isolate the y, have the y by itself. Right, so first thing is you can distribute the negative 2 over 5 inside the parentheses. This will give us y minus 6 equals negative 2/5 times x, followed by negative 2 over 5. Negative 2 over 5 times 1 is still negative 2 over 5. And then you add 6 to both sides. So the 6 on the left will cancel. This will give you y equals negative 2 over 5x, then negative 2 over 5 plus 6, right? Just to speed up the process a little bit, you would have to convert 6 into a fraction. That fraction should be 30 over 6. sorry, 30 over 5, my apologies. And then you add the two fractions. So if I add the two fractions, negative 2 over 5 plus 30 over 5, it's the same thing as saying like 30 minus 2. So 30 minus 2 is 28. So you get 28 over 5. So this will be your slope-intercept form. Okay, so that's the first example. Now I want to show you the second example. Same problem, but now perpendicular. Okay, perpendicular. That's right. In the second example, where it says, well, you want to write the equation of the line perpendicular to the same exact line, and pass it through the same point. All we got to know is the definition or formula for perpendicular lines. So the thing about perpendicular lines, we say line 1 and line 2 are perpendicular, as long as the slope of line 2 is a negative reciprocal of line 1. Or the slope of line 2 is a negative reciprocal slope of line 1. Okay, and equivalently, you can write that out as M2 equals negative 1 over M1. All right? Okay, so we don't have to do too much of a work here because your line 1 in this problem was the same exact equation from the previous problem. It was 2x plus 5y minus 8 equals to 0. And from this line, we saw that you could have rewrote it as y equals negative 2 over 5 x plus 8 over 5. And we also saw that this line has a slope m1 of negative 2 over 5. So if m1 is negative 2 over 5, what do you think m2 is going to be? If I'm dealing with two lines that are perpendicular. That's right. You negate the negative sign, so two negatives make a positive, and then you flip the fraction. So when you put it all together, you get 5/2. Very good. All right. So now that you have m2 is equal to 5/2, you say that using m2 is 5/2, and the point negative 1, 6, we have y minus y1, which is 6, equals 5/2 of x minus negative 1. But again, if you wanted to simplify the point slope form, you combine any two negatives together. This gives us y minus 6 equals 5/2 of x plus 1. That's your point slope form. Oops, my bad. And if you want to get your slope-intercept form, you distribute the 5/2 and then you add 6 to both sides, right? So if I distribute the 5/2, you get 5/2 of x plus 5/2. Add 6 to both sides. The 6 on the left would cancel. You get y equals 5/2 of x plus 5/2 plus 6. The 6 here could be written as 6 over 1, which is still the same thing as 12 over 2. So I found my least common denominator. Now I could add two like fractions with like denominators. 5/2 plus 12/2 is 17/2. And that will be your answer for the second example.